I'm high testosterone, young male, personal trainer, popular. From an evolutionary standpoint, I want to
I'm joined today by Diren Kartal, personal trainer, online coach, creator, entrepreneur.
The majority of these influencers are insecure, tending to have it figured out. And I can't stand that. No one is willing to do the journey. People are just willing to give advice or what they hear from Chris Williamson's podcast. I'm either going to focus on trying to better myself one way or another, or I'm going to sit down and do what everyone else is doing at the minute, is screaming they either got anxiety or ADHD.
Dead honest opinion on the fitness industry.
It's oversaturated with people that don't know what they're talking about.
People competing in bodybuilding.
People are curling dumbbells instead of talking to a therapist. If you're measuring the size of your biceps every 2 days, then I think there's a problem. I was engaged. Don't know why I did it. I felt like I had to. I was too young. I didn't want to be a depressed individual at 40, forcing myself to do something that I didn't want to do. So I did the hard thing and I said, I can't do this. It was difficult, very difficult in my life. It was the most difficult thing I've ever been through. I go to this house party, personal trainers. I saw a mountain of cocaine. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I was like, oh my God. That's the fitness industry.
There we go, everyone. Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Success School podcast. I just want to say thank you so much for being here and taking time to listen to the show today. And I also just want to make sure you are aware that my whole mission with this podcast is to be able to give people access to conversations that are going to enlighten, they're going to inspire, and they're going to give you the information needed to genuinely start to live a happier, a healthier, and a more fulfilling life. But here's the thing, I am just one man. So that's really, really hard to get a lot of people to be positively impacted when I'm doing this alone. So I'm just going to ask a little favor. And I know you're probably sick of hearing this. You probably hear it on every podcast you listen to. But please, if you genuinely do think this podcast is valuable and can help people, if you could just take a second to hit that subscribe button and maybe go on further, tell other people about it, share it on your Insta stories, anything you can do to help bring more awareness to the show would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for being here, and I really hope you enjoy this episode.
Yeah, man, I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm good. I'm in a good place. I've been away for a little bit. Did some time away from the UK. UK is a bit miserable at the minute. I'm not sure if you can
Not
tell.
actually being that bad. We've had sunshine. This is good for the UK.
Not 2 months ago, though. 2 months ago, it was fucking shocking.
So, yeah, it was.
It was shocking. And it was nice to get a little break. It was much needed. But now I'm back here hustling away, trying to, get stuff done, trying to make it,
Still trying to make it. Do we ever make it? What's made it, Diren? Like, when have you made it?
I guess when you're satisfied, So I think one of the things I kind of like that I'm not always satisfied. It's a blessing, but it's also like a bit of a problem as well, I would say. Yeah. So it's to some people I might be really successful. To myself, I don't think I've nowhere near the fulfillment that I want to achieve, So for me, it's a bit of a mental battle. You have your moments, but I think it's very hard to really, it's really hard to know that. I think when you do something, you're on to the next, it kind of depends on what sort of personality you are, I think.
Do you think that's healthy though, like not being satisfied, or do you think it gets to the point where it's self-destructive, like you can't ever be truly happy kind of thing?
I think it can be, and it also can't. So I'm either going to focus on trying to better myself one way or another, whether that's fitness, whether that's business, whether that's relationships, family, whatever it is, or I'm going to sit down and do what everyone else is doing at the minute, is screaming they either got anxiety or ADHD or something because they're not actually doing anything, So it's always a controversial topic when I say all this stuff, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart because I know I've coached a lot of anxious people and I know what real anxious people are about. So when I hear absolute fucking idiots just throw that word around, it annoys me a bit. So I'm like, I'd rather not do that for attention and try to achieve something big and keep my mind busy to try and be as big and bad as possible instead of doing that. So I think, although it might be unhealthy at times for having that sort of mindset, I think it could be a lot worse,
Yeah. So you're saying lesser two evils then, right?
I guess so. Just balancing it out, right? You just got to balance things out, you know?
I want to talk about, obviously, we want to go into like the fitness stuff. That is your baby. But I also, before we do all that, and I'm aware we've got a bit of Q&A with the members, and I'm sure they'll have loads of questions specifically about that. So for our chat tonight, I'd love to talk a little bit more about one thing that has really struck me. I've followed your content for years. I love what you're about. And one of the biggest things is the level of authenticity. I feel like so many people you see walking around the street today, they just struggle to I think know who they truly are, and B, then own that and be authentic.
Yeah.
When I see you, I just see genuine confidence. Like, you stand for what you stand for. You're happy to call people out. You're happy to be controversial if you believe in it and it's your truth.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? And for people listening, if they struggle with just truly owning who they are, what would be some advice from your perspective?
You know what? I think from a cultural perspective, I come from a quite my family were political refugees, right? So they came from Turkey, where at the time there was some troubles, right? And they stood up for what they believe in, you know. And my name itself is actually quite political. My name itself means resist. So instantly, if you're Turkish and you know what my name means, instantly you kind of know what sort of political view my family has. So and they were very like socialist, very believe in equal rights and all of that stuff. So that's kind of in my blood. And even in my name, if I don't stand up for what I believe in, I'm a bit of a failure. You know, I have to live up to that name. So maybe all my life I had to kind of live up to that. But I think from a main thing, it's definitely from a cultural perspective. And I was raised in a family, I was raised in an environment, not only like my family, but any environment I've been in is like you have to speak up. If you don't speak up, bruv, you're getting shut down or you're getting bullied or something like that. You know, you don't really have an option not to speak up, but it could be a blessing and it can sometimes not be as well. I know for a fact there's a lot of people that don't want me in the room because they actually get intimidated by the confidence, you know, and it's a bit shit because it's like, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just being myself. And whether I'm just speaking my mind or whether I'm having a bit of fun. A lot of people do become very successful by being very insecure, and they allow their insecurities to drive them forward a lot, which is fine. But then if they're really successful and then you're in the room with them, you can get misjudged very incorrectly, or you could be led in a way where you're not, you don't fit either media or you don't fit that little group that do their little meetings and stuff, that go to crazy places. They don't want the guy that makes them feel uncomfortable, you know? And that's because of their own self-confidence has an issue, not because of me. So that's actually been always like a real difficult thing for me. Like, I've walked into rooms and I've noticed like, oh, they don't want any of it. You know, they don't, which is why like I love Paul Lima. You know, Paul Lima's my guy. Me and him, when we go to places, we just like, oh, we got each other in it. We're just fucking about having a good time. But majority of these influencers, anyone on social media with followers, majority of them are insecure fucks, you know, that are pretending to like have it figured out, you know? So like, and I can't stand that. So of course they're not going to want the guy that actually knows what's happening. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's a bit of a weird battle. So it's quite difficult. I have my moments, but I've been told if I want to get places, like sometimes Diren, just shut the fuck up. And it's hard for me. Like, it's hard. I can't be in a room and like see something. And I'm like, oh, bruv, I can't shake this guy's hand. He's a fucking scumbag, you know? So it's a weird little battle that you kind of go through, you know? So I'm
but it's
still
kind of
trying
like
to
long game though. It's the authenticity wins long game, right? I feel like anything else, it's the short term win, right?
Bruv, I hope so. Because I'll be honest, man, I've suffered a lot from it.
Okay.
I hope so. Yeah. You know, I feel like I've done well, but honestly, if I played that game, you'd probably have to pay 50 bags to get me on.
I'm glad you didn't then, actually. It's working for me. It's working for me. I mean, what do you say to somebody who recognizes, they listen to that and they go, do you know what? Yeah, I do struggle like being completely authentic. I do bite my tongue. I'm not fully myself. Like, have you any advice on how someone can build authentic confidence?
Yeah, you have to make yourself vulnerable. If you're not willing to make yourself vulnerable, you're never ever going to grow as an individual to be confident. It's just, that's one lesson that, as I know, that's paid off for me in so many ways. I've never been scared to ask for help. I've never been scared to say I'm wrong. I've never been scared to say, holy shit, I'm weak at that. You know, so, and if you go into things with that sort of mentality, honestly, in the long run, you're going to benefit out of life. And most importantly, forget benefiting out of life. You're just going to be a way happier individual when you walk into a room. You know, I've been on business courses, right? Where like there's business coaches and all these fucking, hey man, you made 50K this month. Like, what's your numbers? What's your financial numbers?
Have they all got sore throats?
Oh, bro. And in my head, I was just like, they look at like, say, my following or my thing. They're like, Diren, mate, you could be making this, this, this. And I'm like, yeah, I probably could. But like, unlike most of you, I don't necessarily need a Ferrari to think I'm the man. I already think I'm the man. My family thinks I'm the man, and that's enough. You know what I mean? It's like a weird sort of like, I'm good, bro. Like, so you can do that, but I see through your shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's funny. That's why like guys are just, let's not go into guys. That's a whole different topic. But like, I think being vulnerable and like being open to what you're not good at, being open to who you are. And unfortunately, in now society, no one is willing to do the journey. People are just willing to give advice or what they hear from fucking Chris Williamson's podcast. Do you know what I mean? So like, and I've got zero time for that at the minute. I'm just like, anywhere I go, I'm hearing 18-year-olds give advice. I'm like, brother, you don't even pay rent. You know, so my advice would be like, be vulnerable, enjoy the journey, fail a million times, you know, like, I know I'm just a personal trainer, right? But I know I'm going to be very successful in the future. I don't know what it's going to be exactly, but I know I'm going to be very successful. Yeah. I believe in that and I see it, right? And I just like remember like cleaning treadmills in the gym when I was 17, 18. And I remember thinking the same then as well. And I remember thinking, this is the shit you don't like. You need to do right now to go through that stuff to benefit your life later on and really feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
You know, so my advice would be simple. Be vulnerable, innit? Do things that scare you. Whatever makes you nervous is usually the right thing to do. And please do not compare yourself to others. Like, and I'm saying this openly, yeah. Like, I'm doing my best not to give advice. Most people that give advice, bruv, they don't have it figured out, man. Like, they're just talking waffle. Like
you say, just regurgitating what they've heard because it sounds good. It went viral. I'll say it. Hopefully, I'll go viral. They get 300 views. Fuck, what am I going to say exactly. Now?
Yeah, like I did an ice bath, and the ice bath made me feel like I've struggled today, and I wanted to shut up. What's the ice bath struggling for? Like, come on, man. Like shit. Like, oh man, some real deep thoughts in my ice bath. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's those types that kind of.
I think what I'm picking up from it though as well is like gain experience. Stop trying to rush your results as well. That's what I'm hearing, right? Just fucking go and live your life. Like you say, be vulnerable. Be okay with getting it wrong, not having the answers. Like standing for something and change your mind if you want to go. Actually, and that was wrong. I think it's that thing of learn through doing, not just from reading a book, right?
Yeah. Like, I'll be honest, I don't know you, innit? Until now, right?
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm a big deal, you know?
Well, I know you now because you emailed me 25 fucking times. That only happened because you weren't worried about what I might think and you weren't worried about what's going to happen. And I was like, respect, bruv. This fucking guy ain't stopped emailing me. I was like, shit. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Okay, cool. I'll fucking do it, bruv. Just stop fucking emailing me. You know,
that's
so
it.
like, and you should be like that. That's a sick attitude, man. That's a wicked attitude to have, you know? So like, big up to you for that. And I think that's how people should be. You know, they should truly fucking go for, like, I've met like a lot of famous people, right? And I've been blessed enough to go into these rooms where like, I mean, and I'm never shy to be like, yo, bro, I love your shit, man. You're a sick guy. And like, because people think that sort of, it brings you down like a little bit, you know, and it's just a way you deliver yourself and just appreciating someone else's presence. I think is cool. And you did that very nicely, bro. So be vulnerable, reach out, try different things would be my advice. It's not the 6 rules of success, but like
It's real.
it's just real. It's just real, man. You know, it's just real. Like it's just real. You know,
Let's talk a little bit about relationships, because I know a lot of like the people that watch my stuff are interested in that topic. I've heard you speak about using a long-term relationship quite young, right? From, was it 17 to 25?
Yeah. It was
So
quite
that kind of being in a long-term relationship at such a young age, I'm
Yeah.
interested, as you reflect on that now, what's some of the things you learned? What's some of the things you learned about yourself, about relationships, dating? What came out of that for you?
For me personally, I think it was a great way to, I'm not gonna lie, probably at the time, it probably held me down to like focus on the things I wanted to achieve to a certain, till I realized the person was actually holding me back till I got to a certain point. Right. So, but until that point, I'll be honest, I didn't really drink till 25. I didn't drink till 25. I was playing football. I was hustling. I had a dream, all this shit. And after 25, I was engaged. Don't know why I did it. I felt like I had to. I was too young.
Was it that thing of you were just following life's blueprint of this is what you're supposed to do kind of thing?
Kind of, but I just knew deep down it wasn't me. Like I knew deep down, like I just didn't want to upset the person. And if I'm being quite frank, I haven't had enough sex with loads of different women to fucking settle down. You know, like
I think that's a very real thing though. Like I was having this conversation earlier on. Like I don't know if it's just a guy thing. I can only speak as a guy myself, but you don't want to have that regret that you've not enjoyed yourself when you could, right?
bro, I'm high testosterone, young male, personal trainer, popular. From an evolutionary standpoint, I want to fuck.
Exactly.
You know? So like, and people can like think what they want from it, but it was true. And I didn't want to be a depressed individual at 40, forcing myself to do something that I didn't want to do and then potentially top myself or do something that was going to damage me. So I did the hard thing and I said, I can't do this. It was fucking difficult, very difficult in my life. It was the most difficult thing I've ever been through. But I know from out of that, it was the best thing that also happened for me and for the individual, because I could have become a very bad person and very much regretted and taken everything out of that person and myself, which wouldn't have been good. You know, so there's, again, just like everything, there's positives and negatives. From a young age, being in that sort of relationship, if I have a son one day or a daughter, I definitely would not advise to do that. I'd be like, live your life, get to know yourself a little bit more. But I feel like I'm doing okay as well. So I can't say it was the worst thing that ever happened either. I definitely learned a lot, made lots of friends in Australia. I traveled the world from a young age. That was why I was in Australia. She was Australian at the time, you know, so I learned a lot, relationships. I learned a lot about women from a young age, which I think has helped me out about my coaching, you know. And my ex actually had quite bad anxiety. So when I first got told what anxiety was, I thought, what the fuck is that? Like, I was like, my background, you know, like my background, my parents they're from the village, man. You bring the word anxiety. If I told my mum, like, mum, do you feel anxious? She'll be like, what does that word mean? Like, they wouldn't know. Like, they wouldn't actually know. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I was raised not knowing what those feelings were. I'd feel something, but like, ignorance is bliss, innit? You don't focus too much on that. You just kind of crack on because you don't really have any other choice, if that makes sense. So when I saw what real anxiety was and how it affected a person, like I saw it, right? So, which is why earlier I made the comment about when people claim they're anxious and stuff, I've actually seen it, you know, and it did help me understand women a lot more. It helped me understand it. I think it also helped me grow up sooner from a young age. I was always quite, I mean, we're Turkish, man. We hit puberty like 13, bruv. I had a beard at 12, you know, so we have to kind of, we grow up quick, you know, but I think it was a good thing, you know, whatever happened, and it's led me to be here today, you know, so yeah.
And where are you today? Because obviously we go through different life stages. Back then you was like, I'm not actually ready to commit and so on. How do you feel today about family, you know, maybe having children, relationships? Do you feel somewhere ready for that? Or do you still feel there's a lot more to explore?
Yeah, for sure. Ready. No, man, you can only explore so much, bro. Like, I'll be honest, like, I did a lot of exploring after that. I had a lot of fun, you know. I mean, I'm sure you can imagine, like, it was crazy. Like, things were crazy. And so I explored, and when you explore so much, it becomes a little bit sad, really. Like, if I'm being honest, but like, you have to kind of feel that. And because I didn't feel that before, I didn't know. Like, I would have lived my whole life not knowing what that would have felt like, which would have been a problem. And after I lived it, I was like, oh shit, you know what? It's getting to a point where it's becoming sad, you know? So like, oh, I need to avoid that. But am I ready for a family and kids ASAP? 100%. But like, I one thing I don't do is any girl I've dated, any girl that I'm seeing, any girlfriends I've had within the last 5, 6 years, whenever, I don't post no one on social media because I don't like that fake shit, man. I think it's fake. I'm like, why am I going to plaster something I love on a page full of people? Why would I do that? Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It seems odd to me personally.
Yeah.
Other people want to share their loved ones. Cool. But like, I've personally dealt with some crazy people, and there's some crazy people on social media. And the last thing I'm going to do is put something that I care about on my socials. Do you know what I mean? So like, I've always felt strongly about that one thing, and I've always been like that. I've always been like that. But that's one thing I want to do. Am I ready for kids? Yeah, I can't wait. I'm late to the party, man. I'm late. I'm 32. My parents, my dad. Well, I'm late compared to my culture, I guess. You know, my dad's got 11 siblings. My mum's got 7. I've got 73 first cousins on my dad's side. You know, we're a big family. Every time I see, it's like when the men look at me and my family, they're like, you don't have kids. like you're not, like, you know, it's good banter, but like, it's weird, isn't it? It's like, now, if you look at all podcasts and everyone's bringing out stats about women and men happiness and all that stuff. Old school way is probably the best one still. Like, I would probably say, like, the ones that are quite old school in that way have actually, like, it's kind of like circling back a little bit, you know? So it's quite interesting when I see like my culture giving me shit, and then when I see to like the Western culture and everyone's still having fucking brunches, you know? And it's like, it's kind of weird, you know? You got my family having fucking kids, and then you got some of my friends just, yeah, we're going for a champagne brunch. I'm like, cool, that's cool. Like, I'd rather go sports day with kids, you know, personally, but I don't know.
I guess it's that, innit? It's about, I guess, everyone, it's what's right for them, but it's making sure it is right for them, right? And I think a lot of
100%.
people, they don't do what's right for them. They do what the culture says is right for them, or the society says is right for them, right? And I think
100%, yeah.
that in itself is its own thing to really be mindful of. Let's talk about the personal training. What was it for you? Why did you get into personal training? How did you start? What's that kind of thing?
Honestly, initially it was, where can I work while I try to make it as a footballer? You know, that was the first thing. And then
I think it's good, even just that, being honest about that. One of my gripes with some of the personal trainers in the fitness industry is they don't acknowledge the reason I'm into fitness is because already I was an athlete or a training to be an athlete. You know, when they're giving advice on fitness to the everyday person who might be an intellect and not like sport and so on.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point already, is to say, look, I actually quite liked being fit anyway, right?
Yeah, yeah. But the problem is, most personal trainers were not athletes. They're gym goers, and there's a big difference.
Okay. Yeah.
Being a gym goer and being an athlete playing a sport where there's pressure, stress, is very different to doing bicep curls and looking at the mirror every 3 seconds.
And taking a selfie.
Exactly. You know? So like, and unfortunately, majority of the personal trainers, which again is why I'm probably going to shoot myself in the foot here when I say people don't like it because I speak my mind, is unfortunately, majority of them did that because they didn't get picked for the football team.
Right.
You know, so they went to the gym to deal with their insecurities, which is no problem. And it's completely fine. But then they start telling people what to do in such an aggressive way when they haven't lived it themselves, or they're not the person that they've claimed. And I never wanted to be that person, you know, personally. It just smells like scumbag behavior. Like, I don't know, you know, I don't like it. I just think it's real fake and it's just not nice. But I started because I loved football, and people are like, oh, don't you love helping people? Yeah, I love to feel good. And when I help people and coach people, it makes me feel good. So it's like a win-win situation. So I always kind of felt that because, guys, let's be honest here, yeah. Who the fuck just likes to randomly help people they don't know? Like, it gives you a dopamine hit of some sort. So it's not like a selfless act. You're being selfish by doing a selfless act. And that's not a bad thing because it's a win-win situation. It's just no one kind of admits this, So it's kind of an interesting circle. But that's why I initially started, and I end up loving it. I was doing BTech sport in college because I went after 16. I played football in Turkey for a year. I got a scholarship for a year and a half, 2 years. And when I came back, I had to do my BTech. I didn't go straight to A levels. I came out with score 2 GCSEs. One of them was maths, and the other was Turkish. So I only got 2 GCSEs, But it was weird. Like in school, I just knew I wasn't going to go uni. I just knew it. But I loved sport. So when I did my BTech levels, human body and sport, my tutor was like, Diren, you should get your PT qualification. You're very good with people. And she literally said, I trust you. She goes, whatever you say, I trust you. And I was like, that's nice. She was like, and people would get encouraged by you and they'll believe what you say. You should become a personal trainer because I think you'll help loads of people. She said that to me, and she was my tutor from Hackney. She was a Caribbean weightlifter, Sonia, absolute legend. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I listened to her and I did it. And I started working at Fitness First in Oxford Circus. And then it kind of took off from there. And she was a very good role model at the time. Helped me a lot in college in Hackney because the areas I'm from is not nice, bro. So when you have people like that around you, real positive people, it's real nice. So whenever I'm in Hackney, I do my best to go see those individuals,
Nice, yeah. Quick question for you, the listener. This is probably the most important question you will answer today. Have you got your tickets to our next event yet? Seriously, guys, I'm not just bigging this up because it's my event. Genuinely, this is gonna be one of the best events of 2025. Out of everything that I do, I can honestly say this is the thing I put the most energy, effort, attention into, and it's one of the things I enjoyed the most. Enhance Your Brand is happening. This is our 4th live event here at Success School, and it's going to be a day jam-packed with incredible speakers talking about business, mindset, sales, and marketing. And not only is there going to be some incredible speakers, but you get to network with a room filled with other fellow Success School listeners. This is going to be a room filled with people who are committed to being the best version of themselves, which I would say is going to be quite a good room to be in if you want to achieve more in your life. So if you haven't already, make sure you click the link in the show notes, get your tickets, and I'll be so excited to see you there on Sunday, the 2nd of February. You don't want to miss out. Get your tickets. Do it now. Now. Pause. Get your tickets. Have you got them yet? Right. We'll get back to the episode. Obviously, a lot of your content that you've done once you've become a fitness instructor has been, I mean, you are pretty funny a lot of the time, and it's kind of calling things as you see it. And I'm just interested now as you reflect, like, what is your overall dead honest opinion on the fitness industry, the good, the bad, the ugly? How do you feel about it as a whole?
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucked, bro.
Oh, good. I agree. We agree with that. Then.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. What do you think are some of the worst things about it right now?
When people ask me what I do now, I hesitate to say it. Because I'm like, I don't want to say online PT. Because I'm sorry, but and I don't even care if this sounds arrogant, right? But like, when I hear some guy that's got 2 online clients that's never done the hard work, I can't call myself an online PT because I'm like, I can't call you and I the same thing. I'm like, my journey's been a lot harder, bruv. So it's kind of like almost unfair to myself. So I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm like, kind of like, I say I coach people, I said I'm a qualified personal trainer. I coach people. I've got an online business. But the fitness industry in general, it's oversaturated with people that don't know what they're talking about, as well as people that have never actually, they're not experienced. They're not experienced coaches. They're people that use ChatGPT to script fucking videos. So, and I see through that as well. So it's kind of funny. And I just don't.
Where do you think it's going to go? Like, what's the solution? Do you think it's going to get worse and worse, or will it turn a curve? Like,
It's going to die. I think online PT is going to die. I think face-to-face PT is going to get bigger because after COVID and everything, people want community. They're sick of they don't know who to trust online. They don't know who to trust online. I don't know who to trust online. I'm not looking online. I don't even know if I believe this guy. Where the fuck did he get this information from? I don't know. You know? So like, I'm looking at his hands. Sounds mad, but I'm like, his hands look soft. He hasn't worked hard.
Yeah. Where's the calluses? Yeah.
He's using E45 too much, bro. Where's the calluses?
Yeah.
You know, there's no suffering there. There's the eyes. There's no wisdom in the eyes. I don't believe you. You know, so like, I think it's becoming a lot of that space at the minute, right? And what I think is happening as well, which is shit, is there's a lot of business coaches, right? And business coaches are selling people that want to be online PTs a very high ticket package, right? Making them believe that they can have a 10K a month revenue, right? And what they do is they take their £3,000 from that person, that person, that person, that person, promising them that they'll be able to create this sort of revenue. And what they actually do is they saturate the industry by selling them a dream. And what happens is people start going with these individuals and they have a bad experience because they're actually not ready to be an online coach. And for that reason, people left unhappy, you know, it gets very saturated with the wrong types of people, right? And then business coaches are actually making millions by what I call a fucking scam artist. Like if I had I was thinking about doing like a coaching group where I take on coaches as a coaching community. And I think I can do that. And I think I'm in the right position where I can do that and I would give value. But majority of business coaches have never had a successful online PT business.
Correct. Yeah.
You understand? They've made money from selling to personal trainers, selling them a dream. Hey, yeah, I make 50K a month. I can teach you. You make 50K a month by telling a PT to buy your product, not by actually coaching people. It's very different.
And I called this out a few years ago. And I think what you're saying is spot on. There's a shelf life because the business coaches charging the £3,000 a month aren't getting the results. So then they're getting a bad reputation. Then the coaches that paid the £3,000 are then trying to sell things they're not qualified to do yet because they've got a coach in their ear going, just do it, just sell. Then they're getting a bad reputation. And I think you're probably right with that prediction of people are going to go more for just going to their local gym. Who do I trust? Build a genuine relationship. And it's that thing of things going cycles, right? And people will just go back to the trust thing.
It's not, brother. It's just community, innit? I think I've always been a good coach because I think I genuinely think I'm good at reading people and understanding people and knowing what to tell them to help them take action, right? And I think I'm good at that. And I'm good at building communities. And when I mean good at building communities, I'm quite good at making people feel special. So when someone's around me and we're doing something, I like to make people feel like they're a part of the family because I was lucky, bro. I had a big family around me and I'm not weird with people. I'll see you, I'll hug you, I'll grab you, and that makes people feel like it's a safe space. And it really is. So I think people just lack community and friendships is the biggest thing. And once you can put people together in a good way, you don't have to be a fucking genius as a coach, mate. Everyone knows how to lose weight now. Everyone knows how to put on weight. It's just a matter of them actually doing it, you know? So, and that's the main thing. So I think fitness is going to go into a weird space. I mean, good luck competing with Woodband, Apple Watch and all that. They're probably going to have their own fucking AI coach giving them every little stat that they need to take action, you know? And unfortunately, if you don't have a personality and you're going to die, and the reason people don't have personalities is because they haven't lived. So they should fuck off and live.
Go travel around the world and come back when you've done that for a few years.
Go live.
Yeah,
Stop telling me what to do with my life, bruv. You don't even have a fucking mortgage, you little prick.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, it's just crazy when you think about it. When you sit and think about it, you know.
But no, I don't hear many people calling it out like this. And I think this is why it's such an important conversation for us to have and for people to listen to, because there's so much just following as you've called out there, just that narrative of I've heard this on a podcast and I'm just going to regurgitate. Where does that end? Where does that go? And I think actually just being real. And I think the biggest thing you keep coming back to is go and fucking live your life, get experience, make your own decisions, disagree with someone. You don't have to just copy them because they're being successful saying whatever. What do you feel about people competing in bodybuilding and that whole industry, bodybuilders, prep coaches? What's your thoughts on all that stuff? I mean, I can guess, but go for it anyway.
Old school bodybuilders back in the day, and the reasons they used to do it for, I respect it, innit? Them bodybuilders used to hide their bodies, you know, and train hard. I think now it's turned into a way of people are curling dumbbells instead of talking to a therapist, you know? And I think like it's a positive thing and a negative thing. Like obviously training is going to make you feel good. Active is going to make you feel good, but too much of anything is bad. If you're starting to overtan yourself and inject steroids and care about if you're fucking measuring the size of your biceps every 2 days, then I think there's a problem, bruv. You know? So like, I think you should.
But then they become coaches as well, right? They actually give other people advice.
This is the problem. Do you know what I mean? This is the problem. Like, imagine what your ancestor would think if you're on a stage with baby oil. Your ancestors will turn on their grave, bruv. Do you know what I mean? So like, you got so much baby oil, you can barely walk on the stage. Yeah. And then on top of that, you're telling Susan in Birmingham that's got 2 fucking jobs, trying to put a meal on the fucking table to go and eat dry chicken breast and broccoli and then to force her to step on stage so you can get a fucking commission from the federation that you're putting her into? The fuck? Do you know what I mean?
Fucking men, like that right there. It's actually horrendous. Like it's horrendous to see that people are doing it.
Listen to this, yeah. I was dating this girl once, yeah. She was in bodybuilding, yeah. She was in bodybuilding, yeah. And she had a good physique. Like, she had a good physique, you know? She had a good physique. And she was like, I've got this photo shoot. I was like, okay. She goes, do you want to come along? In my head, I was like, no. But I was like, okay. You know, because got to do what you got to do sometimes, innit? So I went there and she's taking these pictures like in a thong and this and that. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at the guy that's taking the photos. And I'm sussing him out. And I was like, this motherfucker's a pervert. This motherfucker's a pervert. This guy has not had sex for 6 months and he's wanking off your photos. Straight. I could call it from a mile away. 6 months down the line, people's photos got leaked.
Nah. Yeah.
There's something, what's that word? There's something, revenge something?
Revenge porn.
Yeah. I didn't know what that was, but I learned after.
Yeah.
These people in that scene, there was a lot of that madness happening. And I was like, I told you, look at this guy. Does he look like he gets pussy? Sorry, everyone. I don't mean to be, but like,
he does mean to be.
but like, does he look like he can chat to a girl?
Yeah.
No. So what do you think he's going to do with those photos? You think they're coming straight to your drive? Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, and when I say these people, like, you can't say that, Diren. I'm like, yes, I can. I'm raised in the hood. I know a pervert when I see one.
Yeah.
You know, like, so, you know, so it's like, it's too sus. And I'm just like, this is actually one of the most toxic industries in the fucking world, man. And it's crazy. You know, so it's quite interesting. And it's quite interesting to actually see other people how they get sucked into it. And I can understand why.
I'm really glad you said it though, because I competed amateur a few years ago and that was my introduction and enough for me to see what you're talking about there. But then the big thing that I became aware of is, fuck, we put them on a pedestal. We see that image, that physique, you know, all us laymen, as they call it, just normal people go, okay, I'm a bit out of shape. We put them on a pedestal. We then pay them when actually they're really unhealthy. They're full of steroids. They're super insecure. They check in 7 times a day with a coach. Like, they get validation from standing on stage naked. Like, they should not, in my opinion, be the people we get advice from. And I think, but that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation. To say, guys, like, be so mindful who are you getting your information from,
bro. honestly, I've seen the first personal training house party I went to, yeah, with bodybuilders and stuff, yeah. The first one, I was in Australia, and I was very new to this. Where I'm from, I saw a lot of drugs, right? I saw a lot of drugs. I saw weed. I never saw white powder, right? I didn't see it, right? In the hood, people can't afford cocaine.
Yeah.
Simple as that, right? Weed is cheap, okay? I'll go to this house party, personal trainers. I saw a mountain of cocaine. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is what fitness is. This is fucked.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so fucked.
Yeah,
And
this is
I'll
the
be,
health and fitness industry.
yeah. And I've never done it. If I did it, I'll tell people. I don't care. Like, it doesn't do anything. I've never done it. It's not in me to do that because I think it's dirty in it because I've seen the way people do it. But like, I'm not judging anyone that has done it or does it or whatever. But when I see people giving advice on other people and how they should live, doing it to that extent, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this is crazy. But yeah, that's the fitness industry.
There we go, everyone. That's what Diren comes from. Brilliant. Yeah, well, I think it's an important conversation to have. Just before we start to head towards wrapping up, and then obviously get into some of the Q&A with the members, there's a few kind of like general life advice questions that I ask. So the first question is, what is some of the best advice that you've had in your life that you still live by today, and why?
Best advice is when I thought I was, well, not I thought I was at the time going for a very shit time in my life, like real shit, when all this stuff in Australia was happening, when I was pretty much walked away from a wedding 2 months out, felt horrible, shittest I've ever felt. I felt sick to my stomach that I did that to someone, made them upset. Worst time ever. And one of my clients was a very successful millionaire who was blind in both eyes, lost his sight when he was 21. He was just like, Diren, whatever happens, you'll actually be okay. Like literally, whatever happens, you'll be okay. It's the most simplest fucking sentence in the world, but it was so true. It was so good. Smith put it in his book, The Wanker.
Of course he did.
But like, yeah, and that was probably the best of it. Because no matter what happens, you'll be okay, man. Like literally, the worst. Think about everyone. Like everyone here can think about their worst case scenario. Your worst case scenario, it still isn't that bad, you know. It still isn't that crazy, you know. So I thought, yeah, that was probably the most helpful, I would say.
Okay, flip side, what's some of the worst advice? Something that someone said to you that just turned out to be nonsense?
Worst advice. Is this corny? I don't know if this is corny. I just the worst advice. I'm pretty good with blocking people out that would give bad advice because I don't tend to fucking listen. But it's the individuals. The bad advice is usually people that have created any sort of limiting belief into what I'm doing, like questioning it. So I can't tell you an exact sentence that they said, but their energy towards something was like probably as close I can get to like bad advice. Not even the word, you can't do this. Not even that as advice, but just doubting the ability that someone can do something. I think
that sort of cynicism, that they're skeptical. Yeah,
that sort of, it was very common in Australia. In England, we do it quite a bit as well, you know. But like which is why I love going to New York and America, you know.
Yeah,
let's go, man. What do you do? No way, that's so fucking cool, man. It's nice, man. It's like the fucking American dream. It's kind of nice, you know. Tell someone.
me and my friend went to one of the Gary V things over there where there was like loads of different speakers. We were amazed the amount of people in the audience. Whenever somebody says something, they're going, hell yeah, amen. And you're like, fucking hell, like, but that's the culture over there, right?
But isn't that better than being a miserable fuck?
Hell yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, so like whether it happens or not, I'd rather live my whole life thinking I can make it as something as accepting that I won't.
Yeah.
Boom, caption that, motherfucker. No, I'm joking.
So this whole podcast is called Success School, and it's kind of going down the theme of a lot of traditional education didn't actually equip us to be successful. And by that, I mean happy, healthy, fulfilled individuals. So if you was to give like 3 lessons from life, three things to live by that you're like, if you follow these kind of, if you want to call them rules or whatever, then you're on the path to living a successful life. What comes to mind? What are the things you'd leave the listeners with today?
I would say, first of all, there's no perfect way of doing anything or achieving anything. So everyone has their own journey with that. So there's never going to be a right way or a wrong way. There's going to be your way. You know? That's one thing. The second thing is, stop taking advice from people. You kind of know what to do anyway. It's not that hard, is it? You work hard, you try things, it kind of happens, you know? So taking too much advice from individuals is doubting your own ability. And if you're doubting your own ability, you should question if you're really about that life, you know? And if you're not, then go on a journey to figure it out, is what I would say. And the third one would be, don't be a bitch. Legit. Like, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Just fucking do it. Like, who cares? Don't worry about other people's opinions. And when I mean don't be a bitch, I mean like be brave, be courageous. Don't question anything. Just take action on it, you know? Don't matter what anyone else thinks. Doesn't matter what like anyone thinks. Your mom, your dad, your sister, the person on the road, what I think, you know, doesn't matter, you know? So it's not relevant. It really isn't relevant. I think too many times individuals, they're like, oh, I heard this in this book. I'm like, fucking hell. Just go live it, bruv. Were you listening to fucking this person and that person? But like, it's not like they read it from another book, that they lived something to create something. So when I'm 40, when I'm 50, I want to be talking about stuff that I learned through living, not through someone's book. Like, you know? So like, and that's no disrespect to anyone, because I've got a lot of friends in this space, you know, and they love me and hate me for it. So yeah. But
they
yeah,
only hate you because it's calling them out for the truth, though, right?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Honestly, like doing this has been like so refreshing. I knew it would be pretty decent anyway, but I just think like so refreshing to hear such raw honesty from somebody without any fucks given. Let's put it how it is, really. So Diren, thank you so much for your time. Obviously we're going to wrap up and then do a bit of Q&A, but if anyone's listening now to this podcast that maybe is only hearing about you for the first time, do you want to just give a bit of a shout out for where they can follow you, how they can sort of keep up to date with your content?
Search Diren Kartal. If it doesn't come up, I need to get better at my job. And yeah, you can listen to my podcast. I've got a pretty crazy episode coming. I think I haven't done one in a year, and I'm bringing it back because I'm bored of fitness now, and I'll get into more talking and stuff. So, and I think I'm not bad at it. So find me on my podcast, and I think there'll be some sick episodes, and I'll have some sick guests coming on for sure. And I like having difficult conversations. So search Diren Kartal, and you'll find me.
Nice one. Diren, final question is, what is your personal definition of success?
Oh shit. Personal definition of success. Personal definition of success is just being me, innit? I'd say being me. And if I can be me to the fullest, I'd say that's success, because I can't implement. Yeah, it's me, innit? Yeah, it's just me. I'm pretty good at me as well. So I'm I'm living it up, bruv.
I was going to say, I think you're pretty fucking successful then, innit?
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, mate.